Hello everybody and welcome back to part 2 of the build of the Wing Wing Z84. These have been glued on. I've taken the pins out. I've got a sharp knife and just cut some of the glue that oozed through there. That looks a bit ropey, the other side's a bit better. Well, a lot better actually, there's nothing wrong with that. I am also going to now look at getting this glued in. I'm going to glue the tube in this section of the wing, make sure it's all poked down where it needs to be. Probably contact adhesive and then a bit of super glue just to hold it in place. And then once that's done, we can start joining other parts together. But yeah, I'm going to glue that in first and we'll see where we go from there. Okay, so that's the wing tube glued in. I've got some masking tape on it to hold it in. I put sort of yoo-hoo paw in the slot and then like twisted the tube round in it, which I've sanded this. I didn't sand the slot actually, but I've sanded the carbon tube all the way across, just to roughen it up. I put the masking tape on here and sort of pushed it down, and I spun the tube so it got sort of glue all the way around it. And then like I could slide it that way, but I couldn't ping it out, which is the way that's going to be forced. It's like that already. I didn't bother trying to take it out and put it back in again. It will do as it is. So I'll wait for that to glue. I then slide it through the fuselage and into the other wing, and yeah, we go from there. So we will wait for that to cure while I have an argument with Amazon about sending some batteries back. Hooray. Okay, so the wing tube has glued in on this left wing. So what I'm going to do now is slather some glue on here, slather some glue in these trails. One thing that's quite good is there's lots of room, so you can get the tube through and then squeeze it down on top. And that'll be this glued on. I've got my pins ready. I'm going to grab me, oh, I've got it here already actually, the masking tape, so we can get this all attached properly. So I'll get on and do that now. Okay, so we've done this section. Unfortunately, not very well. You can see it's a bit lower the leading edge than it should be. I've tried to sort of squeeze it back, but it's not brilliant. I think the main problem is the fact that the tube isn't quite right in this wing. But hey ho, a little bit of trim will be fine. I've sanded everything. I've even sanded like a line across there. You can probably see it because I've got this bit to glue on it. I'm going to apply glue to this bit of the plane and glue into this trench for the tube. And then we shall put it together, more tape. This has taken like 3 days to do. This is the 3rd day now. But after that, everything else should go fairly smooth. So, you know, if it's not the motor mount, I can do while I do other things. But I'll see you all very shortly. Okay, so that wing's just about glued. I'll leave it on for longer, but it seems to have settled. We're going to move on to gluing in this motor mount. Now, in the instructions, it doesn't actually mention which way to go, but as you can tell, there is a reason for it to be one way up or the other. So, because you want down thrust, the one with the most pokey outy thing needs to be on the top. So it goes in like that. As you probably tell, I've sanded the inside, I've sanded the plastic. I need to fill this up with glue. There's little pegs to line it up with, and we'll go from there. So we'll take it from there. Okay, so I've got a soldering iron on. I have another one which I'll turn on very shortly. Because while the motor mount is gluing in, we need to do some soldering. So here's the receiver that we've already mostly sorted out. This is the TBS Nano receiver for crossfire. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the red and black off of that and have just the yellow, and that'll be RSSI because our little flight controller can do RSSI, as you can see there. Shouldn't need the black wire in theory. No, can't bother to solder up on the other end. We also need to put a connector on the end of our video transmitter. Don't need to do it on the camera because I'm going to use one of these cheaper ones, and even though they're cheap and generic, unlike run cams that are twice the price, if not more, they actually come with a Futaba lead already on the end of the, or servo lead already on the end of the cable. So you just plug it in. Amazing, isn't it? And then we'll put the bigger soldering iron on. That's where I can touch it because that one's hot. We need to solder this up so it'll meet the motor. Put female ones on there. I'm not going to solder this directly to this because again, this is like our current sensor unit. I want to be able to remove it, so I'm going to solder it up as if it will just plug directly to my batteries, and then solder this up so it'll fit in the middle, and then that's a whole lot of soldering done. I'm not going to bother showing it you because mostly I want to watch something on this phone while I do it, and secondly, you've seen me solder millions of stuff at this point, so I'm just going to get on with it. I know, very rare for me, but I'll see you shortly. Right, so I have managed to bolt the motor in. I've used Allen keys with washers behind because the screws that came with it, like trying to get them stuck on the end of a screwdriver was a nightmare. I was trying to use a screwdriver with a magnet attached to it and it just doesn't work. So we're having a look at putting some electronics in. I have done some sort of test fits. What I'm going to do, the SNL Owl, it's just called the SNL? Where have I got owl from? I'm sure it used to be called an owl. Never mind. I'm going to use some of my sort of good old trusty green double-sided pad. As you can see, it's got a little bit of sponge between the layers there. And in order to try and make my life a little bit easier, is I'm actually going to try and put this as far back as possible. It starts ridging up a bit around where that sort of, you know, nodule thing is there. Just put that there. That'll go there. There's room for the battery. The speed control I'm probably going to put in front of this carbon fibre spar. I can't put anything over the top of the spar because in the canopy it has a plastic clip that clips over that, and because it's a wing, there's no real way of putting like a rubber band around it or anything. I don't want to use tape, it's a nightmare. Receiver goes in there, that just pokes through like that, and then the actual receiver can come in the fuselage. Probably going to stick the GPS there out of the way, and the video transmitter I'm probably going to stick on the front section of the canopy here. So, because I'm not sure how long this is going to take, I'm going to work further on trying to get all this stuff installed. Something I've just noticed is I've managed to knock off this, which is a pain in the arse. Oh, you know what, so I can't bother to put it back on. Or can I? That's a fairly fast solder. I'm going to solder that back on, and then we can have a look at installing some more stuff, and I'll be back with you very shortly. Okay, so as you can tell, there is a lot of wire mess here, but the SNL Owl is under there. I've got the cable for the GPS and the video transmitter and the camera sort of stuck out the top here. This is the battery I'm going to be using, just the 3200. Got the speed control mounted like that. I've had to cut some out the top of the canopy to get that battery to fit. Now we're going to be doing the slightly anxious job of trying to get that fitted in the front, which I'm not going to enjoy. But we will see how that goes, as I'm going to focus on cutting that instead of videoing, and we'll see how we go. Right, so I've managed to get the camera in. It was actually fairly easy and quite confidence inspiring compared to... The only other time I've had to cut a camera into the front like that was cutting in a 3D printed piece in on the Vortini, which still needs finishing at some point when I can be arsed. But actually cutting the camera is easy. Just cut the square out and then take it a little bit out just to, because it's, you know, the camera sort of does that shape. It's in, and again, I wish I had some tape this wide that's white, but I don't have black. And again, this is a test bed. Another problem is I was going to put the stickers on, but I managed to cock up one of the stickers. It accidentally stuck to the paper side of the sort of vinyl backing, and then ripped it off. So that was a nightmare. So we're not going to have the nice green stickers on this. I'll have to find something else. What we need to do now, the reason why my goggles are here, is I need to plug everything in, get the video transmitter on and on the right channel and everything like that. And then what I'm going to have a look at doing is plugging stuff in to try and get some sort of output out of it, because I don't know which is which. So I've got this yellow and this white one. I don't know which is which. So I have to plug them in if I switch it the other way around and see what happens. I also need to get my radio out. I've suddenly realised. So I'll be back very shortly when I have something on the screen.